Greetings, booktubers, and welcome back to Grammaticus Books. And today we're going to have a bizarre, brain-twisting ride of an SF novel review, a science fiction novel review. A degenerate, end-of-time novel for sybaritic hedonists is what we're going to be taking a look at. It's a trippy, far-future science fiction satire of Victorian England and a look into human morality. And that is, of course, An Alien Heat by Michael Moorcock from 1972. Now, Michael Moorcock, much more famously known for his work with Elric of Melnibone, by far and away his most popular author. But this book here and its main protagonist, Jared Carnelian, are actually very important to the Michael Moorcock bibliography. And I'm going to go into why they're important and why this book is important. And it's an interesting book. And we'll go into the book itself here in just a quick bit. But first, let's talk about this physical copy I've got in my hand. This is the Harper & Row first edition. This is a first printing from 1972. It is a book club first edition that I found in a store, a half-price book store up in Madison, Wisconsin a couple weeks ago. And it's got a cover here by Irving Freeman and Mark Rubin that's got what's called a splatter design on it. Splatter designs were very common back in the late 1960s, mid to late 1960s and early 1970s. I've got a whole set of Lord of the Rings that's done in splatter design, and it can be quite interesting, and it's not a bad, half-bad cover here from 1972. The book is 147 pages in length. It's really more of a novella than a novel, and it is the first in a trilogy. An Alien Heat is the very first book in the Dancers at the End of Time trilogy, and that is why this book is important to Michael Moorcock and all of Michael Moorcock's works, because this is the book that kicks off the Michael Moorcock Multiverse. The Michael Moorcock Multiverse, say that 3 times fast, which consists of An Alien Heat in 1972, The HoloLands, which came out in 1974, and The End of All Songs in 1976. Now, Michael Moorcock would go on to write more stories, a lot of short stories related to this multiverse, but that is the core trilogy that creates the multiverse that eventually pulls in, sucks in, and acts as the keystone, the cornerstone that anchors all the characters and all the character arcs from all of his other books over the course of his writing career. It brings in the Eternal Champion. It brings in Jephraim Tallow here from the Golden Barge. And it even brings in Elric of Melnibone from his sword and sorcery, a world that he exists in, and draws him into the far future of Earth here, which is the science fiction setting here for An Alien Heat. So that's why the book is important. Now let's talk a little bit about the book itself. What's the background? What's the setup here to An Alien Heat? Oh, the setting is the far, far, far future of planet Earth. We are millions of years in the future, and the denizens of planet Earth, the humans living there, of which there are only a couple of hundred at this time, technology for them has advanced so far over all these millennia that they are now virtual gods. They can, with the wave of a hand, change the color of the sky. They can, with a nod of their head, completely alter the landscape around them or make it disappear and then create buildings in its place. They can do virtually anything that they want. Births no longer take place. People are no longer born. People no longer die. They've attained immortality. There is no want of anything in anybody's lives that lives on this far future Earth. But the universe is ending. We're at the end of times. The universe is in the big crunch. It's collapsing in on itself. And in a couple thousand years, it's going to destroy itself. But the people of Earth are such hedonists, they're such decadent narcissists that they don't care. Because in this far, far future where there are virtual gods and they've eliminated all of the drives and all of the pressures of normal existence, they've lost their humanity. They've lost all of their morals. They are completely decadent and completely amoral in this far future. And so amoral to the point where at the beginning of the book, the main character, Jared Carnelian, and his mother, who is the Iron Orchid, who have just slept with each other because everybody in this far future sleeps with everyone else. There are no taboos at all. They're having a debate on this word that Jared Carnelian came across in one of these ancient dictionaries out of Earth's early ages. And there was a word virtuous. And they're debating the meaning of the word virtuous, and they can't wrap their head around it. It makes no sense to them because they have no context into which to put it. And that sort of gives you an idea of where the morality is in this far future Earth at the end of times. So in order to entertain themselves, all these residents, their main course of existence is to throw parties. And each host, when he throws a party, he tries to outdo the last host's party in terms of extravagance and decadence. And then at the end of the party, everybody who attended, which is all the inhabitants of planet Earth who come together for these parties, then they all debate whether he succeeded in being more extravagant and more decadent than the last person did at their party. And it's at one of these parties that the book really sort of kicks off. It kicks off when a time traveler arrives at this party where Jarek Carnelian, our protagonist, is. And this time traveler is Miss Amelia Underwood from the year 1895 in England. Yes, she's a Victorian lady who's been taken from Victorian England in 1895 and then stuck into this ultimate decadence, this ultimately amoral society here at the end of Earth's final days. And then she acts as a foil here to their decadence with her Victorian values, her very prim and proper Victorian values, which are used as sort of a foil and as a straight man for Michael Moorcock to write dialogue back and forth between the two main characters now, Amelia Underwood and Jarek Carnelian. And Jarek Carnelian is smitten with Amelia Underwood as soon as he sees her at this party, and he decides that he has to have her. He's also read this other concept in one of these ancient books from Earth's ancient history about the concept of love and falling in love. And he decides that he wants to be the first person here to fall in love because it will be the ultimate extravagance here on planet Earth and will gain him the ultimate kudo points if he can pull it off. Except that he has no idea about what the meaning of love is. So he captures Amelia Underwood, puts her into what amounts to his menagerie, because one of the other pastimes that these denizens and these end times on Earth like to do is they collect human beings, they collect time travelers from all different time periods on Earth. And the more strange, bizarre, diverse your menagerie of human beings that you've collected and put into your zoo is, then the more prestigious it is, and the more pride you get, the more points, the more coup that you can count among your fellow denizens here at the end of time. And he stuck her into his menagerie. He steals her out of another lady's menagerie, a lady Charlatina, steals her because he thinks that's what people in love do, is they rescue maidens, and then sticks her into his menagerie, which obviously does not go over well with Miss Amelia Underwood. And then this becomes the basis for the rest of the story, which I will not give away the ending to it, but suffice it to say that the book ends on a cliffhanger. It makes it very apparent that there are other novels to follow after this one. So what did I think of An Alien Heat? It's very well written. Michael Moorcock is an excellent writer. He writes this end time, trippy LSD-esque type of Earth here in the final days with this absolutely super decadent, almost Nietzschean type of society of supermen that has evolved into it. He writes it exceptionally well. It's satire. It's satire of Victorian England taken to the extreme. It's filled with a lot of outright humor, which a lot of it works very well. And I was entertained. I did enjoy the novel, but it left me wanting more in two ways, one good and one bad. The good way in which it left me wanting more is that it did hook me in by the end of the story. I was invested in the characters. These plot lines started to develop there right at the end of the book, and I wanted to see where these plot lines and these plot arcs went and how they played out. And if I ever came across more of these Dancers at the End of Time novels, I would definitely pick them up in order to see where this story goes. So that's the good way in which it left me wanting more. The bad way in which it left me wanting more is that I wanted more substance. It's kind of empty. It's sort of like, especially in the middle act, there just isn't enough content. There isn't enough substance in order to carry the book through and make it really satisfying. It's kind of like drinking a zero Coca-Cola, a 0-calorie Coca-Cola. You get all the fizz, you get all that liquid in your stomach expanding it, but you didn't get any of the flavor to go along with that Coca-Cola. And that's kind of like what this book is here. So would I recommend it? Well, if you like strong plot-driven novels where the protagonist uses the technology of the day in interesting and innovative ways in order to overcome the challenges that have been set in front of him or her, and then do it with their determination in order to see it through, then this is not the book for you, because that is not what this book is about at all. This is a far future science fiction satire with a very different protagonist, a very atypical protagonist, with a lot of humor written into it. It is very, very new wave science fiction. But if that sounds kind of interesting to you, and if that sounds like a plot line that you might want to see where it goes, then this may be of interest to you. You might like it. I did enjoy the book, but I really was sort of disappointed that it could have had more content in it. But it does seem like a good setup for their other two novels. Now, if the other two novels here in this trilogy, for the Dances in the End of Time, if they can hit it, if they can take what's been set up by Michael Moorcock here in this first book in Alien Heat, and then satisfy that want, satisfy that need, and build out that content with some good plot development and bring it to a good conclusion, then I would give the trilogy an overall thumbs up. But I need to read the trilogy first. And I know that's kind of a punt, that's kind of a cop-out here, but I really do get the feeling that he's set up a potentially really good trilogy here, and I just need to see where it's going to go. And I'll do that, and once I do that, I'll bring you guys my review of the trilogy here on the channel. But if you've read any of the Dances at the End of Time, what did you think of it? Do you like Michael Moorcock's other writings outside of his Elric of Melnibone, by far his most popular character? Put it down in the comments section below. And with that, I'm going to wrap this one up, and I'm going to say take care, be safe, and I'll catch you guys next time.